Welcome, friend. Follow me. We're going somewhere dark, somewhere dangerous. Most people would never dare enter the place we are going. There's no telling what horrors we'll find, what terrors we'll uncover. Don't say I didn't warn you. We might discover terrible monsters lurking there. Be careful, they could follow you out, or maybe they're already inside you. Are you afraid? Good. Now you are ready to enter the Warning Woods. Gabby could feel them from the moment she walked in with her purse and suitcase in tow. She thought they remembered her too. They stood back, remained invisible. One watched her next to the front window. Another looked up at her from the base of the stairs. She could not see them, but her strengthening intuition told her they were there. "We'll get to know each other very soon," Gabby Ponds told the spirits in the home she would be staying in for the next few weeks. Turning back to the door, she said, "I have some friends here I'd also like to introduce you to. We require answers to questions you might be uniquely qualified to answer. And in return, if there is something you need help with, we will do everything we can for you." The energy in the house remained steady, calm. Gabby sensed no objections. 2 succinct taps came from around the corner in the kitchen, light and unthreatening. "Hello?" asked Gabby. She hauled her suitcase up the 3 bare wood stairs to the main floor, set it by the closet, and peered through the dining room to where the sound originated. There was no one there. No one she could see. "Well then, I shall return with the others." Back outside, she pulled her scarf tight to shield against stinging snowflakes that had grown in number since the sun started to set. Her jeans seemed to freeze to her thighs and calves instantly. She walked to the car parked behind her own in the long driveway. Darian Whitney leaned out the driver's side window, squinting through the snow. "We all good?" he asked. "All good," Gabby replied, the phrase sounding ridiculous with her academic intonation. The Whitney's car shut off. Reese got out first, taking in the wide yard full of old trees, the sharp slope mere feet away from the back of the house. He thought the house itself looked like a cult compound with its rustic log cabin face, or as Reese thought, mask, disguising a haphazard grouping of concrete blocks collated into the rest of the house. Godfrey Kott didn't care much about aesthetics, he thought. Gabby had informed him and Darian about the house's builder, first owner, and namesake, who constructed the house on that particular precarious spot to place it over a portal that only opened during the full moon. She'd been there before, years ago, and witnessed the portal herself. She claimed a few spirits escaped it while she was there and still resided in the house, at one point making it a popular haunted house for rent. Darian flipped his puffy hood over his head as he slipped out of the car. Reese asked, "You feeling anything?" Darian said, "From here? Honestly, dude, no. Guess we'll have to see if that changes once we get inside." A third car pulled in behind the Whitneys, this driven by Leah Daniels, who waved at them through the snowflakes dying on her windshield. She got out wearing only a blue t-shirt and yoga pants. "You crazy child, get inside," Gabby ordered, laughing. Leah sheepishly replied, "Yes, ma'am," and with her arms wrapped tightly around herself, pranced to the door. Gabby said, "I'd better not let her go in alone. Do you boys need any help carrying your equipment?" "We got it," said Reese. Darian popped the trunk. Back inside, Gabby ignored the presences she felt gathered near the couch in front of the window. She'd felt their gazes upon her walking up the driveway. Instead, she gave her attention to Leah, whom she'd heard much about but never met. "You must be Gabby Ponds," Leah said, offering a weak but friendly wave of her red, trembling hand. "Come in, let's warm you up," Gabby said. She led Leah up the 3 stairs to the living room, and after hanging her coat and scarf in the closet, she raised her arms for a hug. "Oh," giggled Leah, inching close enough to let Gabby embrace her. Gabby's warmth persuaded Leah to let her hold her a few seconds longer than she would ordinarily feel appropriate. I feel like I know you well enough to skip the basic introductions, said Gabby, releasing Leah from the hug but grabbing her hands and warming her fingers in her own. Leah stammered, Oh, yeah, me too. Coming through, Darian announced, nudging the door open with his shoulder. He carried 2 bulging duffels through the door. Reese pressed in behind him, with a backpack over one shoulder and a similar duffel in his other hand. The women stepped aside to let them pass. Reese ran into Darian's back when he suddenly stopped in the living room. Darian turned to look at him over his shoulder and said, Now I do. Right here? Reese asked. Gabby said, You're right, they're here. Who? Asked Leah. Gabby, closing the door, said, I think the boys are going to help us answer that. Gabby briefed Leah on her prior examination of the Kott House years ago when she'd still been a professor at Iowa State. She described the house they now stood in filled with moving shadows under a full moon, and how, due to a special door accidentally being replaced by unwitting new homeowners, some spirits escaped into the house and remained there. Is it a fissure? Leah asked. Gabby said, This is an excellent question. There are 2 things I want to learn this time around. Darian stopped trying to sense the spirits and listened to her. I want to know if the escapees prefer to exist on this plane or would rather return to where they came from. I should like to aid them if they desire the latter. Second, Leah, in regard to your question, is if this portal is one of the fissures. It has to be, right? Asked Darian. Gabby said, While admitting I would be shocked if we've happened to discover 2 types of dimensional doors in such a short time with our ragtag little team, no offense, of course, we must acknowledge the notable key differences between what is here and what we've witnessed elsewhere. We've known fissures can open in the wake of trauma or by the force of external power. You thinking of the Hotel Moss? Reese interrupted. Gabby said, It would seem your recent encounter in Prouty also was being controlled by something from beyond. Didn't you say it closed instantaneously and that it has done so before? Darian nodded. What I hope to ascertain tonight is why this fissure, if that is what it is, opens only under a full moon. I can't be sure this information will be pertinent in the future, but the more we can learn about the 5th dimension before you all run off to the woods to face Uno Do and this fate he speaks of, the better. Darian said, Agreed. Yeah, I don't know how long we can put that off, so cramming as much new info in as we can seems like a good idea. Yeah, thanks for coming so quickly, Gabby, said Leah. Reese stayed quiet. Gabby clapped her hands together. Well, before we get started, to the spirits in this house, let me introduce my friends Reese and Darian Whitney and my newest friend, Leah Daniels. They are here to learn, to speak with you, to help if help is what you require. They will show you respect, and I ask that you do the same. Now, boys, shall we get out the toys? The Whitneys unzipped their duffels, setting aside camera and lighting gear to get to the ghost hunting devices ranging from Petco cat toys that lit up when touched to vintage analog recorders Leah assumed must have cost a good chunk of YouTube revenue. Darian said, On the way over, I thought it might get hard to interpret answers with multiple spirits trying to speak at once, so maybe it would be best, if everyone's comfortable with it, to split up. Leah, I know this is your first time, so you can stick with me and I'll show you how some of this stuff works. Gabby, you comfortable going alone? Gabby said, I'd be delighted. Darian chose for him and Leah to remain upstairs in the living room with the bags so he could give her a crash course in ghost hunting. Gabby requested the basement since one of the bedrooms there actually contained the portal. 18 days separated them from the next full moon, so Gabby wanted to observe the portal, gauge its energy at a low state. Reese didn't know where to go, so he closed himself in the master bedroom with an ovulus, a device able to turn environmental triggers into text, as well as a camera to document whatever responses he received. He set up the camera to point at the bed before taking a seat on the edge. He closed his eyes and tried to reach out as he'd watched Darian do so many times. He felt nothing, yet a voice in his head whispered, "Oh, they're here." "Shut up," Reese whispered aloud. Then, remembering the camera, he forced himself to laugh and say, "Dude, am I getting in touch with something finally?" Though he was speaking to his brother, who would surely watch every frame of the footage, he'd used the same whipped-up YouTube voice he used when addressing their viewers. He told himself it was muscle memory, nothing deeper. Life had gotten a bit crazy, and sure, basically everything happening revolved around his brother's cursed gift, but nothing had changed between them, right? Reese had been along the whole time, a faithful sidekick. Sidekick, echoed through his mind. Stop, Reese shouted, jerking to his feet. Footsteps, then the door opened. Darian said, "Dude, you good?" Reese picked up the obvious, shaking his head. He said, "Didn't mean to freak you guys out. I just got pissed at this stupid thing not scanning again." "Dang, really?" Darian asked, taking the square plastic device. He powered it on, tapped the touchscreen a couple times, and said, "Seems fine. Must have been a fluke." "My luck as usual," Reese laughed, taking it back. "Yeah," Darian replied. His head dipped out of the doorway, and Reese heard the peak hisses of his and Leah's whispering voices before Darian's face reappeared. Leah's footsteps had almost completely faded when he finally asked, "You good, man? Everything okay?" Reese said, "Yeah, man, all good," mimicking Gabby's posh accent with a grin. Darian said, "Okay, 'cause I know we haven't had a lot of time to unpack what happened to you at the prison. It's been..." Reese interrupted. "It's good to be busy. I'm doing okay, bro. Thanks." "All right," said Darian. "Feel free to join us in the living room if, the obvious keeps giving you trouble." Reese said, "Yeah, sure," with an appreciative smile. Darian closed the door again, leaving Reese gazing into the soulless eye of the camera. He sat on the bed again and placed the Ovilus beside himself. "He okay?" Leah asked as Darian re-entered the living room. She was sitting on the love seat perpendicular to the couch, toying with an EMF reader. Darian said, Yeah, he's fine. Just a glitch with the Ovilus. I'll show you what that is a bit later when he's done with it." Leah set the EMF reader down and picked up a rectangular metal box. Her finger traced along the speaker grill on the front panel and played with one of its 4 dials. "Here," said Darian, reaching to twist another dial that lit up a small red bulb on the top of the device. "It's a spirit box." Static pulsed faintly from the speaker as he handed it to Leah. "What's it do?" she asked. "You ask questions to the spirits and they speak back through radio signals. It's definitely a bit sus, but we've gotten results ranging from eerie to straight up, undeniably accurate before." "Should I try asking something?" asked Leah. Darian glanced around the room, taking in the furniture. The love seat, the couch, an old rocking chair in the corner, probably installed to give the popular haunted house some spooky vibes. Yes, he could feel the presences, Gabby confirmed, but the whole atmosphere felt wrong for speaking to them. For starters, sunset was blazing through the front window. He always found it easier to commune with spirits when he couldn't see beyond his personal bubble. He drew the long curtain in front of the picture window closed. He then set up another type of device. This is called a REM pod. It detects changes to ambient temperature, so if someone walks past it, it turns on. He set it at the top of the stairs. It squealed and glowed when he flipped its switch on and went dark and silent when he jumped back. "Works on living people too," he laughed. "What's REM stand for?" asked Leah. Darian said, "Rapid eye..." Oh, wait, no, that's the sleep thing. It's, I actually don't have any idea. Still laughing, he said, "Go ahead, give the spirit box a shot. The REM pod's just there to tell us if anyone comes in. I'll set up a couple more as you get started." Leah nodded, opened her mouth, and froze. Only her eyebrows moved, inching closer together before she finally said, "What should I ask?" "Here, I can start it off," Darian answered. He took the spirit box and, sitting cross-legged on the floor, placed it in front of himself. Leah lowered herself across from him, copying his posture. Darian began. "To all the spirits in this house, please know we come with respect. We wouldn't bother you if it wasn't important. My name is Darian Whitney, and I'm here with Leah Daniels. Is there anyone here with us?" Leah watched the spirit box, preparing herself in case a voice suddenly cut through the static. To her left, the air buzzed slightly. She looked but saw nothing. Darian, noting her sudden movement, turned, then said, "Yeah, I feel someone too." Leah's eyes went wide. Darian dug through the duffel bag nearest him until he pulled out a clear plastic ball with wires and a microchip inside. "Cat ball," he said. He held it up for Leah to see in the faint light, then tapped it lightly with one of his fingers. It flashed blue and red lights like a police car, brightly enough to light the room for 5 seconds before it went dark. He slowly placed the cat ball in the space between them where the static felt concentrated. The ball reacted again when it touched the floor, and Darian left his fingers on it until it stopped. Then, careful not to trigger it again, he raised his hand and returned it to his lap. "Okay," he said. Then, speaking to the spirits, "If someone's here, could you—" The ball lit up. Leah flinched away. Darian raised a calming hand and drew in a long breath, then asked, "Who's here with us?"
7,
the spirit box replied in a female tone. Shivering violently, Leah whispered, "Oh, that gave me chills." Darian winked. "Are there 7 spirits in this room?" The box pulsed, then said,
"The house."
"Whoa," Leah gasped, leaning toward the buzzing energy beside her again.
"Won't hurt,"
said the spirit box. "This is different," Darian noted, speaking low. The eyes across from him begged him to explain. "That was the same voice all 3 times. Usually it's a jumble of different voices from the radio the spirits piece messages together with. Hey, are 7 spirits total in this house?" Pulsing.
"That's everyone."
"Did you all come from the portal in the basement?" asked Darian.
"Not all,"
the spirit box immediately replied. "Did you?" Leah asked, shaking as her first question hung in the air. Pulsing.
"Yes."
Darian nodded slowly, giving Leah a thumbs up. "You still feeling it?" he asked. "Right here," Leah replied, gesturing to her left. A cool, isolated breeze brushed the back of her hand as the cat ball lit up once more. The spirit box said,
"Leah."
This time with a darker, lower voice. Clawing fear gripped Leah's heart from below. Despite every other answer seeming so friendly and positive, hearing her own name triggered a deep defense. A sinister voice had unexpectedly called her name once before, and that voice belonged to Uno Doe. She might have had trouble calming down again if she didn't suddenly remember Darian had introduced her to the Kott House spirits. Still, hearing her name from a ghost's mouth, so to speak, left her a slightly changed woman. "Are there bad spirits here?" she asked. Pulsing.
"1."
A dark shape in the corner of Darian's right eye made him turn. He jumped, catching an involuntary shout in his throat. Someone was standing at the end of the hallway. The cat ball lit up again, faintly illuminating this person in flashes of red and blue. It was Reese. "Geez," Darian shouted. "Nice timing, dude." Reese said, "What, you told me to join you?" He sat across from the cat ball as it stopped flashing. "You gave up already?" asked Darian. Leah said, "Hey guys, we were talking to somebody." To the spirit box, she said, "Who's the bad spirit? Where did it come from?" Pulsing. Darian asked, "Are you still there?" "Were you guys getting answers before?" Reese asked. "Yeah, I don't know what's going on," said Darian. Reese got to his knees. "Sorry, I'll go back." "No, don't," Leah pleaded. She looked to Darian. "He should stay, right?" "Yeah, Reese, come on. You know this isn't exact science. How about we switch to the voice recorder?" Reese shrugged and sat back down. The cat ball rolled away, lighting up until it bumped into the rocking chair in the corner, which then began to rock. All three investigators sat in motionless silence. Gabby traced her finger along the edge of the vault door guarding the second basement bedroom. The home's owner, a former colleague of Gabby's, told her he reinstalled this heavy door after the last time she'd visited. He'd originally taken it down and replaced it with a normal door for his daughter, not knowing the door needed to be extra sturdy to lock in the portal that opened each month, otherwise the portal's dark shadows would overtake the whole house and most of the hill. Her former colleague's ignorant mistake was how some spirits managed to escape that time, to sneak out into the house and refuse to return to the portal. It would be 18 days until the portal opened again, but Gabby could already feel it. She'd become more attuned to personal energies over the past year after facing down her personal demon. She now knew what to look for when analyzing a house, a room, even a door. She felt spirits in her emotions, her empathic nature a metal detector for pain and sorrow. Learning to separate the spirit's emotions from her own was another story, but through her personal work she'd gotten better at recognizing when negative feelings originated from external sources. She smiled to herself. In many ways, the hallway she stood in was where her new life began. She discovered the excitement of investigating hauntings right there, waiting for her old colleague to show her a portal to another dimension. What she saw back then changed her. The woman who'd emerged from the Kott House that night was barely recognizable to her now. She'd given up on chasing scientific explanations, though she still maintained detailed notes for the future. She'd unwittingly outpaced science. She hoped one day, before her last, science would catch up and explain to her all she'd seen, heard, and felt. Right now, she was feeling fear and sorrow. But neither belonged to her. She turned to the spirits gathered behind her. Something evil resides amongst you. Each of you carries it, but it's not a part of you, is it? She focused, concentrating her soul. Her vision blurred, and she saw a black haze with underlying hints of purple hovering in the middle of the air. Yes, there it was, the evil. She let it fade, shifting her attention once more to the spirits. I have a device my friends upstairs lent me to speak to you. My understanding is you should be able to speak back to me using its energy and circuitry. I won't feign to understand how, but hopefully you do. Shall we? Gabby went into the room next door to the portal room and found, as had been described to her by the owner over text, a lockbox on the floor of the closet. She punched in the code provided to her and removed its contents, a heavy brass key. This she inserted into the vault door and turned. Then she twisted the wheel and the door popped open, instantly swinging outward on its own. The last time Gabby had been in this room, it had belonged to a teenage girl named Scarlett. Her complaints about her room being unnaturally dark prompted her father to ask Gabby to investigate. Now the room was totally bare, white walls, no carpet. This room is where Professor Gabriella Ponds abandoned her academic credentials and began her journey to who she was now. Two completely different women stood here in the same body, separated by years and experiences the younger Gabby never could have imagined. Traces of the shadows which first brought her there floated in the air beneath the ceiling light. Not only did the room seem unnaturally dark, the darkness didn't behave normally. Subtle blotches of darkness and light quilted the air before her. She had an electronic voice phenomenon, or EVP, tape recorder, a device the Whitneys had shown her at the Hotel Moss. She preferred it to the spirit box being used upstairs for reasons she explained to the spirits who lingered outside the room. This voice recorder should allow me to hear you. Unfortunately, I will have to play back the tape to hear what you said. However, it will not influence me to make assumptions about your answers as I ask my questions. I have a few I've prepared for you. If, after listening back, I need to clarify anything or ask any follow-ups, I will do so. This may require some patience on your part, and for this I do apologize. She unfolded a sheet of notebook paper from her back pocket. Then she raised the recorder, a smooth metal device that smelled faintly of cigarettes from whoever had owned it prior to the Whitneys. She clicked a red button on its side and spoke. I forgot to mention it might be useful for you to nominate a single speaker to record clean answers. I'll give you a moment to select someone as you consider my first question. Did you all escape from the portal in this room? She waited, unsure how long she should give the spirits to answer. It was a simple question, however, she knew it might still require a significant amount of energy for them to answer. A purposeful double knock pounded the wall by the door. Gabby started, then said, Oh, I see. Yes, I see. That will work. All right, next question. Do any or all of you wish to return to what I'll refer to as the other side? The tiny tape inside the recorder whirred as seconds ticked by. Again, this could have been a simple yes or no question, but Gabby waited until a hard knock resounded again. Very good. If you answered yes, my colleagues and I shall discuss what we can do to assist you. Now, assuming at least some of you are from that other side, why did you leave? Gabby felt a ping of anxiety when she heard the next knock almost 2 minutes later. Her final question was one she didn't want to ask, or rather, it was one she didn't particularly want to hear the answer to. She said, We've recently learned something of great consequence may be approaching our plane of existence, something that threatens that very existence itself. No doubt my friends upstairs are asking about it as well. One of them, Darian Whitney, has seen it with his own eyes. If there is anything you can tell me about it, please do so now. The lengthy silence, filled only by the whirring device, lasted until the end of the tape. When it clicked, Gabby jumped. I'm sorry, she said. It looks like that's all I can record. If you don't mind, I'd like to listen to this tape with the others in case they glean something from your responses I might otherwise miss. Please, if you like, follow me upstairs. Gabby ascended into the living room's uncomfortable atmosphere. Her associates all looked at her when she set off the REM pod at the top of the stairs. She smiled at Leah and asked, How's your first ghost hunt going? Hard to say, Leah replied. We were getting stuff at first, but it's been a while now. Darian asked, Gabby, did you find any evil spirits down there? Reese adjusted his legs. He brought his elbows together and leaned forward like he was cold. Gabby said, I do have a penchant for digging up the nasty ones, don't I? I sensed something, but I can't be sure what. Apparently there's an evil spirit here somewhere, said Darian. We tried asking for more info, but whoever was talking stopped. Yeah, right after dropping a bombshell, added Leah. Well, said Gabby, I've just finished conducting an EVP session and thought we could all listen to the results together. Perhaps we will learn something about your evil presence from the recording. Gabby eyed each of them, one by one. Even Reese, who looked up at her from the floor when he felt her questioning gaze. What? He asked. Gabby scoffed. You don't expect me to sit on the floor with you children, do you? Oh, sorry, Darian laughed. He stood, followed by the others, and they moved toward the furniture. Reese offered Gabby the love seat, but she offered it back to him, choosing to sit in the middle of the couch instead. This way everyone can hear the recording, she explained. Once they'd all sat, Gabby rewound the tape and hit play. She'd spoken too close to the microphone at the beginning. Her voice came through distorted. I forgot to mention it might be useful for you to nominate a single speaker to record clean answers. I'll give you a moment to select someone as you consider my first question. Did you all escape from the portal in this room? Sounds like a distant pod of whales swelled behind the curtain of static on the tape. At least 3, possibly 4 distinct voices. Finally, a warm, rumbling burst preceded a droning voice which, in a British accent, said, We know you. That was so clear, Leah whispered, gripping her own knees. Darian nodded, appreciating her excitement, but then held a finger to his lips and winked. Leah raised her hands in apology just as the voice on the tape resumed. Speak again. An audible knock filled the gap between his voice and Gabby's exclaiming, Oh, I see. Yes.
Yes, I see. That will work. All right, next question. Do any or all of you wish to return to what I'll refer to as the other side?
The response came after a few seconds of silence,
Eventually.
then a knock. Gabby's voice.
Very good. If you answered yes, my colleagues and I shall discuss what we can do to assist you. Now, assuming at least some of you are from that other side, why did you leave?
A chorus of wails bellowed behind the static, communicating fear, desperation, pleading. The deepest and lowest voice, that which matched the one speaking to Gabby, silenced them, and for a moment, the only sound was gentle hissing.
There is danger there,
The deep-voiced spirit finally said.
but we are safe here for now.
Can you pause it? Darian asked. Reese said, He's got to be worried about the fate, right? That thing Uno talked about? That's what I'm thinking too, said Darian. It must be pretty bad considering they were trying to warn us about something evil here just a few minutes ago. Gabby said, I too find this answer somewhat upsetting. The next question I asked might clear things up. Let's listen. She hit play.
We've recently learned something of great consequence may be approaching our plane of existence, something that threatens that very existence itself. No doubt my friends upstairs are asking about it as well. One of them, Darian Whitney, has seen it with his own eyes. If there is anything you can tell me about it, please do so now. You are correct.
The same spirits replied.
A fitting name for the evil we fled. When we escaped, it was only a strange hue on the horizon, but we could all sense, when we gazed into its deathly color, the way it was obliterating the natural order. It must be close now. When the portal opens for the moonlight this building starves it of, the shadows that emerge carry the deathly color. Spirits flock here to be purified and find only...
The tape ended. Oh, hell, said Gabby. Whoa, said Darian. What's he saying about the moon? He looked to Gabby. She looked as bewildered as everyone else. Reese said, Guess Godfrey Kott didn't think enough about what he was messing with when he built this place. He wanted to study the portal, said Gabby. He had the right intentions, but you're correct. I doubt he considered very much how isolating the portal from its natural environment would affect it. Back up, though, said Darian. I ignored the most important part. Guys, this was confirmation that this fate thing is actually coming. And that Uno was telling the truth, said Leah. Does this mean we should try listening to him? What if he's not actually the bad guy here? Asked Reese. A concerned glance shared between his brother and Leah prompted him to add, I mean, he's definitely not the good guy, right? But what if the world gets destroyed because we didn't listen? Gabby said, I don't think we should make any consequential decisions until we can learn more. Why are spirits flocking here? What does the moon have to do with this? These details could provide invaluable insights. Back to the spirit box? Asked Leah. Or we could use the voice recorder again. It worked well here, suggested Gabby. Dude, put me under, Reese said, tapping Darian's shoulder with the back of his hand. Estes? Asked Darian. Reese said, Let's do this the right way. I don't know, man. It's a good idea, but what if we tried putting Leah under? Darian asked. Reese said, Because she's got the same risks as you and she's brand new to this? What are you talking about? Leah asked, indignant at her name being tossed around in context she didn't understand. I believe they are referring to the Estes method, a procedure for speaking to spirits in real time, answered Gabby. Yes, said Darian, turning to face Leah. Basically, we blindfold somebody and put headphones connected to the spirit box on them. The person listening to the box doesn't know what questions are being asked and can't be influenced by anything we say or our expressions. Reese added, It also puts the blindfolded person into a bit of a trance, tunes them in a bit better. We've had mixed results, but we gave up on it a while ago because the isolation makes it too easy for me to slip, said Darian. It's really hard to pull him back, Reese said, and it's never really worked with me as the conduit. Mixed results is his nice way of saying that. And you think I'd slip too? Asked Leah. This really isn't the time or place to find out, Gabby replied. She studied Reese. If it's never worked before, why do you think it would work this time? I don't know, the energy, the power here, all of you tuned in people standing around me. I feel different, okay? I can't explain it. Just let me try, okay? Just this once, Reese, hey, chill out, man, said Darian. If you think it'll work, we can try it. Reese nodded. I'll get the stuff. Hey everybody, this is Miles. You've just listened to part 1 of what will be a 2-part story. Subscribe wherever you get this show so that you'll be aware when part 2 is released. I promise you will not have to wait long. Until then, thank you for listening.